Hey, everybody, welcome to Her Wellness Business Empire. I am so excited about this week's interview because I get to interview a colleague who I have partnered with in not one, but two businesses. And I just feel so honored and blessed about it. And I'm so excited for Arin Fugate, hi Arin, to share her story of success because I think it's going to inspire you to see what's really possible in your life and business. And the other thing I'm excited about is that having partnered with Arin in two businesses, I've known her now for, I think, 11 years. And I immediately loved her way of being as it relates to growing a business. And really this ability to be a supportive business owner who is sensitive and she'll share her story, self-proclaimed empath, and also kind of a badass. Let's just say that. All right. She's kind of a badass businesswoman. And so immediately when I realized that we were watching a training together live at a leadership training, and she and I both connected. I don't know if you remember this, Arin. We were at Diamond Mind, and we were watching a training from another pretty much badass woman business builder. And I was like, oh, I like Arin gets it. Like she gets what I get. And so I'm so inspired by you and I'm so excited to have this interview. I will stop talking and blabbering and introduce you officially, but I do want to say welcome, Arin Fugate.
Thanks. Thanks for having me, Diane.
You bet. So I'm going to share your official street cred here, but I feel like having reviewed it, it's very modest. You guys, this woman is a badass. Like she has built very successful businesses. So let me just share a little bit about Arin Fugate. So Arin is a survivor, having overcome addiction, anxiety, depression, and many other limitations from years of abuse. She is now dedicated to facilitating the rise of the female visionary. Arin dedicates her time to supporting women as they heal, launch the business of their dreams, and create lasting change in their communities. So again, welcome, Arin.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. I can't wait to just see what comes from this.
Yeah, I always like to start my interviews by hearing kind of what, I know you're going to actually, this is a big part of your interview and this experience here, but if you can give us kind of a snapshot, and we'll dive into the deeper things in the interview, but a snapshot of your what I like to call the hero's journey, right? Like how did you get to be where you are today and sharing this information? Like, I mean, it's always amazing what people go through to get to where they are in their success, because just even reading that bio, that it doesn't, you look at you and you're thinking, no way. Right. So I think that's a really important thing for people to see. Like when they see anybody who's successful, they didn't just become successful overnight. They had to overcome something. And so anyway, go.
Yeah. So, I mean, as my bio says, I suffered years of childhood abuse and in my early adulthood was in a domestic violence relationship. And I didn't take my healing seriously. So what that resulted in was then self-abuse in the form of drugs and alcohol and other things. And so when I reached my rock bottom, part of reaching my rock bottom was this voice inside, or this realization that I was meant for more. And the voice kind of was like, are you kidding me, Arin? Like, this is what you're doing with your life? Like, really? And I just would always hear that voice and go, well, if I'm meant for more, what could it be? Because I don't have an education. I clearly suck at life and relationships. what could that possibly be? And I just kept following that inkling that I was meant for something more. I knew that I wanted to help people. I always had a desire to uplift the world. And I just kept following what I call the universal breadcrumbs.
Mm-hmm.
And one day they led me to, surprise, surprise, network marketing, which I never thought I would get involved in. Yet here's the gift of network marketing. You get to engage in massive personal development, not only through the trainings and the workshops you go to, but I now had to manage a team and the interpersonal dynamics of the team. And I always said that my network marketing career was like a spiritual path, especially because I leaned into it. So from the point that I started my business, which was 2008, to now at 2023, I've completely changed as a person and as a business owner because I was really forged in the fire of sales and networking and team building and everything that comes along with that. So that's kind of like condensed version.
I love it. I love it. I love that you said two things. First of all, I love that you kept asking the question. You kept asking the question. You heard this voice, you heard this message, and you just kept asking how, and just trusting, and you just kept following that, what you called the universal breadcrumbs. And I love that terminology. And I think people stop short often, when they hear that voice, that sometimes they don't believe it, and B, they want answer. They think they should know the answer, right? And so I love that you just kept asking how, and then eventually, because of that trust and that continuity, it came to fruition. Things started unfolding for you. So let's go back and talk about your upbringing. Like, where did this all start?
Yeah, so both of my parents were, like crazy hippies in the 70s. Like seriously crazy hippies. They would party with Hunter S. Thompson, that kind of style.
Wow.
And my dad had a really intense drug addiction, and he actually went into NA and started to work a program. My mom quit drugs cold turkey, and she found spiritual new age movement. And so what that resulted in is my dad was kind of out of the picture because he was really struggling with his addiction. And my mom had sole custody of me, and she decided that we were going to go live on this idyllic spiritual commune in the mountains of Southern Oregon. She took me out of school. I was homeschooled. I learned about meditation and yoga at 11 years old. There was a lot of wonderful aspects of this upbringing, but it truly was an abusive spiritual, what I lovingly refer to as the cult. And although I didn't suffer any like overt physical abuse, and this is something I always like to help people understand, is they might say, I'm not a trauma survivor. I'm not an abuse survivor. Oh, I've never been abused. But if anyone has ever controlled your money or controlled your food or controlled who you can be friends with or controlled your living environment or controlled the way that you dress, that is all abuse. That all falls under that line. And so I did experience those types of abuse. And at age 16, I got kicked out. And it was like, okay, go make it in the world, go figure it out. I had no education. I had a very small amount of money in my bank account. And I didn't understand how the world worked. Like, I didn't know social norms. I didn't know how to interact with people because I had grown up just meditating. And so I had a lot of crazy experiences, fell into the wrong crowd. And also, I'm proud of myself. I also figured it out. I got a job. I paid the rent. I ended up getting my GED, passing my SATs, enrolling in college. And I was on the trajectory I wanted to become a chiropractor. I don't know if you know this, Diane.
I don't know that.
Yes. So I had worked in a chiropractor's office as the front desk person. And that's when I fell in love with the world of healing and healing modalities. And they really encouraged me to go after that path. So I enrolled in the pre-chiropractic program at Portland State University. And I felt like, I'd figured it out. I'd even gotten myself a car. Like I had a car loan. I was building my credit. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to put my past behind me. Like, you can't hold me down. I'm going to go rock it. And there was a boy. And now there was this charismatic, smart, handsome man. Everybody loved him. I thought I had won the jackpot. I fell deeply, madly in love with him. I wanted to marry him. I wanted to have his babies. And he was great for the first 6 months.
Mm.
And after 6 months, he somehow figured out how to weasel his way into living with me in my apartment. And then he very quickly started physically abusing me. And it was so disappointing because I was in love with him. I was also full of shame, like this shouldn't have happened to me. And I was loving my life so much. And I didn't have the resources. I didn't know what to do in that moment. Like there's numbers you can call. There's people you can go to. I didn't know any of that.
Mm.
So I plotted my escape. It took me 3 months to escape from him.
Wow.
And my escape included dropping out of college and letting go of my dream to become a chiropractor. And my life fell apart after that because I'm unknowingly suffering from PTSD.
Yeah.
I don't get into therapy. I try to go back to school at a different college and I can't focus. Like I am a mess.
Hmm.
And so from there, I found a community of people who were artists and creatives, and they loved to party. And I started using drugs and I started drinking, and the drugs and the alcohol took the pain away, and I could function, and I had a community around me that loved me. And I actually had a pretty successful business at that point. I started a booking agency for DJs. And of course, like I had that in me all along. So even as an LA party girl who was cracked out and hungover every day,
Wow.
I was running a very successful artist agency. And it became so successful that I actually was being recruited by some bigger agencies. And I had an opportunity where I could have gone and been like Madonna's agent.
Wow.
That was the trajectory I was on. But what I was thinking in my head was, Arin, do you really want to be a 50-year-old woman at the club?
Mm.
And who are you going to meet? Because I always wanted to get married and have kids. The question was, who are you going to meet at the club? When I had my interview for that big agency, the owner of the agency took me out. We did lines of coke.
Mm.
And I just knew inside my heart, like, really, is this the path you want to choose? And then also inside of me was this question of, how are you changing the world? You throw parties for a living. You create spaces and music for people to do drugs for a living. How's that going to positively impact the world? And there was something inside of me that was like, if I come to the end of this life and I have not made a positive impact on the planet, I will feel like my life was worthless.
Oof.
And I don't know if that's like my karma, my dharma, like what I was born into this existence with, but it was so important to me that I packed up all my bags one day and I moved in with my mom. And I was like, it's got to change, Arin, it's got to change. And I started going to yoga every day, still using drugs, still drinking, still like at the club most nights, still making those bad choices. But every day I would show up at the yoga studio. And my yoga teacher was just this incredible teacher, Eddie Elner, down in Santa Barbara, California. And he created a safe space where he was okay however you would show up. As long as you made it to the mat, he was like, it's okay. And in that yoga class and in that yoga studio, I started to have my unraveling. And one day I was in Shavasana and I had this prayer kind of going inside of me, which was like, what am I supposed to do with my life? What's my purpose? And a voice answered back and it said, you have to teach.
Mm.
And I was like, what? Like, what am I going to teach? I'm a loser. I'm on government assistance. I'm living with my mom at 32 years of age. I don't have a car. My credit is destroyed. I haven't been able to keep any relationship. There's nothing in the world that I could possibly teach. But I think going back to those universal breadcrumbs is I know that if you get an answer to a prayer, you have to say yes, even if you don't know the how. It's this idea of like, what would happen in your life if you just started saying yes to the opportunities that came your way?
Love that.
And so I said yes to that voice. And within a couple of days, somebody came up to me in the yoga studio and introduced me to what is now my network marketing business, doTERRA Essential Oils. And I never imagined that I would be in sales, let alone network marketing. I have a crazy essential oil mom. That's another part of the story. I'd grown up with oils, but I always thought they were like kooky, get them away from me. And so the fact that this man kind of came up to me and said, have you ever heard about doTERRA? And I was like, no. But then he said this keyword. He said, well, they're a new essential oil company and they're looking for educators.
Oh, wow. I just got chills on that
right?
one. Wow.
And it was just like, whoa, bing, 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 bing.
Doing.
And I just said yes. Yeah. And that's kind of been the story of my life is I trust in divine guidance. I trust in the act of prayer. And I know that if I have that feeling inside that I'm meant for something, then that path is going to be presented to me.
Wow. I mean, that is I knew some of the story, but some of the pieces now all, being put together were really powerful. And one of the things that I find the most powerful was that you had foresight. You had foresight to see now this makes sense, futuristic. I know that's your number one strength. Yeah. So you had the innate foresight to say, what is this going to feel like at the end of my life? What is this going to feel like when I'm 50 years old? Where am I going to be? Is this the path? Because a lot of people want instant gratification and they're thinking, this is like the dream, right? I had this amazing opportunity. This is the dream. But you're like, no, something is not aligned. Something does not feel right. So that is so incredibly powerful. And it gave you that path to entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
Right. And now that you've been with doTERRA, which is one of the businesses that we work in together, how are things morphed? Like where do you see yourself kind of in the bigger picture of your business, the brand, the business of Arin Fugate? Like where are you? Who do you serve? What is the thing that is driving you the most now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And here's the thing. Like I said, I went on an incredible personal development journey. Yeah. So the person that signed up with doTERRA in 2008 is not the person that I am today. And some of the transformation that I have had has to do with authenticity, vulnerability, and accepting my sensitivities, my empathic gifts. So I used to put on a persona, right? The professional persona, who I thought I was supposed to be, who I thought the company wanted me to be, who I thought social media wanted me to be, to go and build my business. And the interesting thing that happened is the more I put on that persona and tried to fit in the box, the more unhappy I became. Even though the paycheck was growing. And it was that same question, like, what is this wealth, this money, this abundance, if I go home at night and feel like I've had to fake it all day?
God, so good.
And so I came to this place where I'm like, oh, I am highly sensitive. I am an empath. I'm very spiritual. I love sales. I love business, but I do it in a different way. And my superpower is being my true, authentic self. And so now I want to help women who have that same feeling on their heart, women who want to write a book, want to get on a stage, they have a business, they're selling a product, they have a service, yet they don't feel like they fit into the box. And they don't want to like put on the suit and have the perfect social media presence. I want to help those women get in touch with their true voice and kind of break through whatever it is that's making them feel like their authentic self can't be seen. Because I know for me, what it was it wasn't safe to be my authentic self as a child. So I learned how to mask up. I learned how to put on a persona to stay safe. But that's like a slow, small death. It's a slow, small death to not be who you truly are.
Oh my God. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. And that's, I understand that battle, I understand that battle of not being able to show up exactly who I am, I'm this acupuncturist from Portland who lived in Portland for 20 something years, does energy medicine, works with essential oils, but at the root, I'm a Jersey girl. I'm like East Coast drive, West Coast vibe, trying to marry those two and being able to be who I am. And also often feeling like I had to fit in this box. As a kid, I felt like the weird kid in the weird family and everybody else was the freaking Brady Bunch, and I had, I don't want to go into my story, but I totally get it. And yeah, I totally get that. I'm curious, like from 2008 till where you are now, and this growth that you went through, was there like a particular turning point, like an event, something where you just sort of like, I can't be in this way anymore. I have to find a way to kind of unravel this person that I was putting out forward as, fitting into the box to, slowly getting out of the box and being who I am?
Yeah, there were touch points. The first clue was I hit a top leadership rank in the company, 6-figure income, and I was totally depressed. So that was the first clue, like, what's wrong here? Then I met my husband, and he came over to my house, and he was like, wait a minute, you live in a 3-bedroom house, you're making 6 figures a year, and you've got a mattress on the floor in one room, a yoga mat in another room, and no food in the fridge. And he's like, where's the like luxury in your life? What are you doing? And what I was doing is I was grinding. I was just 24/7 grinding. And I didn't know how to function any other way. So from there, I started to nourish myself and move my body. I bought my dream home. I started to sink more and more into like, okay, it's safe. I can ground here. I can let down the defenses. Yet I still was believing that, I had to work hard and clock in. And when I clocked in, I had to watch I have a potty mouth. You don't even know that about me, probably.
No, I mean, I have a potty mouth, but you probably do know that about me.
But like, I have to watch what I say. I have to watch how I dress. Oh, and don't post anything political. And
Mm,
I got to this point really when the pandemic started with Black Lives Matter and all the like the eruption of politics, where I felt like my mouth was in a jail, and like nobody around me knew who I truly was or what I truly believed.
yeah.
And even when I would try to speak out, I got slammed, whether it was on social media or in personal relationships. And from there, I started to do this exploration into, wait a minute, who am I? What do I believe? What do I think? Why can't I say that on social media? Why can't I say that to friends? And it just started this whole exploration for me, which,
Mm,
within reason. If you follow me on social media, I'm not blasting my political beliefs.
yeah.
But there's going to be days when I am like in my pajamas in a messy bun. I might drop an F-bomb here and there. You might find out different parts of my personality that's quirky and truly me, because I just got to a point where I was like, it's not worth it. You can't pay me enough money to have to put on a mask every day. And that was the gift, of the pandemic for me, is I found my true self and my true voice. I'm still finding it. I'm still experimenting with it, but I have fully come to a place where it's totally embodied within me. I want to sit on here in video, on podcasts, on social media. And when you and I meet in person, I want you to think, wow, you're exactly the person that you were online.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think, ooh, you are not who I thought you were.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's a really important tip for people to remember. Like you have to, because if people meet you, you're going to immediately lose trust if you're not exactly who you are and say who you are. And I love that. And I think, people have this fear of showing up and speaking their truth because they're afraid they're going to uh, block people who they think they should be helping. But the truth is they are not your people. And that's okay because your people are out there. There's plenty of them, right?
Yeah, you actually want to repel those people.
Right. Exactly.
When I see, I probably get 60 to 100 unfollows a week on my
Mhm,
Instagram,
mhm.
but I get 60 to 100 follows a week. And when I look at those stats, I'm like, yep, cleaning house. Like, get
I
out of
love
here.
it. I know. I remember I used to get really upset when people unsubscribed from my email, but I'm like, I don't even think about that anymore. It's whatever because they are just not
And
the right people. Like that's
so
okay. They should no bless them and let them go because
let them
they're
go
gonna
find their
find their
people.
yeah,
And
exactly.
the feeling to be in a room with your people,
Mm,
there's nothing like it.
yeah, I agree. I agree. One of the things, one thing that really stuck out because I think this is a problem, not a problem, but it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately as it relates to, I help women in the wellness industry create online businesses and courses so that they, can live a life that it's their life first, not their business first, or they don't have to worry about where their next client or patient is coming from. And I think especially for women and women in the wellness industry, what you said, what Gabe said to you, which was where's the luxury? I think a lot of people think, oh, I shouldn't, that shouldn't be something that's important to me, or I shouldn't have nice things, or I shouldn't be worrying about materialistic things, or I shouldn't be thinking about abundance, or, like I just want to help people. Like, and like, so I'm curious about how you're feeling around that, because I'm going to be talking a lot about that in my podcast and to my community, because I think it's important to have alignment around that and be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, everything is frequency.
Hmm.
You're constantly giving out an energy that's going to attract likes. Like,
Yeah.
so take a look at the frequency you're cultivating in your home, in your business, in your relationships, in the food you eat, what you drink, all of it. And do you want to attract people that are doing the same? Because you will.
Totally.
And so I look at it now as it's an income producing activity for me to attend to my frequency, which, sometimes means I bought myself an infrared sauna.
Nice.
And it's in my house, and just the luxury of that and how it makes me feel. Sometimes it's, special jewelry. Actually have a ring on right now that I bought as my abundance ring.
Oh, it's beautiful. What kind of
It's
stone is
citrine.
it? Citrine.
Citrine.
Beautiful.
And so I bought that. I put it on my finger. And when I'm doing anything where I want to hold that frequency of abundance, I look at that as an anchor. It's paying attention to the clothes. Like one of my mutual friends, Tiffany Peterson, she says, look in your closet, and if it's not a 10, throw it out.
Nice.
And the reason for that is because we are magnetic and we're always attracting, but we want to be careful with what we're attracting.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. I could pretty much have this conversation go on, but I want to value your time and the listeners' time. How are you helping people now? And what is then the final takeaway message that you want the listener to receive?
That's great. Well, there's 2 ways to work with me. The first way is to schedule a free 30-minute consultation from my website. And what we do there is I just want to hear about you and your struggles and what's happening for you. I have a beautiful portfolio of tools and products that are here to help you. I work with the essential oils. I also work with a frequency device. And if we find something that is in alignment for you, I'll help you get it. The other way to work with me is in a group coaching program. So I have a program coming up called Success Circle. And it's a 12-week program. We're starting in the new year. So January 2024, we're going to just take the new year off with a bang. And that is a place for you to come if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, you're launching a product, maybe you're wanting to speak on stages, maybe you're wanting to show up on social media, but you are feeling confused about your messaging and you're confused about how you put yourself out there. We're going to get super clear on your messaging, how to market yourself, and most importantly, how to get over the fear of being seen. Because if you can't let yourself be seen, you won't be found. And then you won't help people.
Yes.
So
good.
I'm really excited for that. It's going to be super fun. And I have an early bird special going right now where you can get $200 off. So I'm sure
amazing. I will make sure you get all the links and to be able to connect with her for a consult and to get access to the Success Circle. When does the $200 end? So I can
end of November. So
end of November. Okay. Well, this will be up and make sure everybody grabs it. I love it. And I'm also, and I know I asked the second part of that question, but I just want to share that I have a membership called Her Wellness Business Empire. And I get the honor of having Arin come in and train with my community. So if that is of interest and you want to hear more of Arin, that is happening in December. And I will make sure that you get access to that link and that community as well. So what is the thing that you really want, the final message that you really want people, women, to take away?
What I want you to know is that your story is a lighthouse. So if you have a calling on your heart to share, to inspire, to be on stages, to speak, if you have that calling, like I was talking about that I did, you have to do it. And you can do it messy. You can do it without the perfect outfit on. You can do it without the perfect message. You can do it without the perfect confidence, but the thing is you have to do it, because the world needs you, and you are going to light the way for others by sharing your story.
Mm, I love that. What a perfect way to end. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Arin. I'm so thrilled. I'm so honored to know you, call you a friend and a business partner. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane. I loved it.
Good.